I've been asked several times by founders and analysts and some early stage investors how I analyze startups. And in my new booklet, I'm sharing some of my thoughts. There are 8 factors that I always look at when I analyze a pitch deck or a pitch from any founder. I will go through them just briefly, just to give you an idea. The first thing I look at is the unique value proposition. Is the value providing as a company big enough to be worth looking further? The next point that I would look at is the problem you're solving. Is it a worth solving problem? Is it a real problem? Because sometimes I notice there are startups or founders who try to provide a solution without having a real problem actually to solve. So actually they made up the problem based on the solution. It shouldn't be that way. It should be more like there is a real problem and you provide a real solution. To the next thing, then of course, I look at the solution. Is your solution, product, or service addressing the problem you are facing in your industry? And the next thing that would be also important to consider as a factor is the market. How big is the market? If you are looking for funding from venture capital firms, usually they invest in markets that are bigger than $1 billion. And it has to be several billions to show them we see that this is a worth addressing problem, because then the bigger the market, it means also the higher the chance for your venture to get a higher valuation if you are successful. So next would be the competition. Is it a blue ocean, red ocean market or competitive landscape? Are you the only one? Sometimes I would say I would be a bit skeptical if you're the only one in the market. If there are some players, it's always nice to see some other competitors. The only thing I would like to see as an investor, I want to see that you have a competitive edge and that you can be the number one, the best in the market. So that's what you need to show the investors as a founder, that you can be and you are the best in the market, even if there are some competitors. What I would look at it also, key performance indicators. Key performance indicators are, for me, an indicator that there is traction, there is some interest in the market. It's not just a nice to solve problem, or it's not just a nice solution, but there is real value in what you provide. And it's shown through the revenue, through the customer traction, early adopters, maybe partners you have won at an early stage. So consider these things, mention them in your pitch deck. Helps also the analyst or investor to make a better judgment. Then the team. The team is always, I would say, one of the biggest factors that any investor will look at. Without the team, I think any idea would be worthless. So if you have a good team, make sure that you show the strength and the competence of your team. If you have gaps, be honest about it, but show how you resolve these gaps through either early hirings, incentivizing early employees who are very competent. And then the last point I would also look at as an investor is the deal. How is the deal structure? Who is already invested in your company? Who is willing to invest in this round that you're fundraising? And also, what are you asking for? Are you asking for too much money for what I am investing usually in? If I'm more a seed Series A investor and you are looking for, I don't know, 50 million, maybe a bit off what I'm looking at. But just make sure that the deal makes sense compared to what you're offering. Also, how much equity are you providing for how much money you're asking? So these are the points that I always look at, and I would always consider. So keep this in mind as a founder, but also if you're an analyst, make sure you look at these points always. Try to expect from the founder to have these factors covered in the pitch deck. If they are not, make sure if you have schedule with them a call because you like them, make sure you cover these points at least in the call with the founders. So I hope this was helpful. Share with me your thoughts, your ideas, and your feedback. Thanks.